Back at it with senseless transaction rumors and speculation regarding the Pittsburgh Steelers that we know deep down is just not going to happen, but the conversation is making the rounds, so we got to talk about it here on Big Deke News. Also, one of you guys on one of my most recent videos asked me in the comments, it was Brian Henderson, who my favorite signing this year was and who was my least favorite. So that'll be the last topic for today, so let's get into it. Big Deke News. Wouldn't have thought for the life of me I'd be talking about Dalvin Cook potentially signing with the Pittsburgh Steelers this offseason. But here we are, and it's for multiple reasons. One, Dalvin Cook has been cut by the Minnesota Vikings, so he's available. The second reason is he's a good player, and I mentioned this in the Chase Young video from a couple days ago. Whenever a good player or big name's available, whether they were released or potentially traded, I feel like naturally Steeler fans just perk up and wonder, how could the Steelers pull this off? Could the Steelers end up bringing him in, even if it's at a position we have no need of? Like Dalvin Cook's a running back. We really don't need a running back right now. But the third reason and main reason this is being discussed is Joy Taylor on FS1 brought up the Pittsburgh Steelers as a good potential landing spot for Cook now that he's available. So have a listen.
I think he would be very interesting with the Steelers. When I think of the Steelers' offensive identity, they always have fast, big wide receivers. They have a solid run game. Now, they have Najee Harris, but like Shady said, it's a two-back system pretty much anywhere you go now. They don't want to wear somebody down.
Right.
And if you have a creative offensive coordinator, you can really utilize a guy like Dalvin Cook who can blast off. So having a young quarterback with a solid run game like that would be very interesting, and obviously that's what the Steelers like to do.
I agree with the premise or the concept that it's a good idea to have multiple good running backs on your team, especially if you're going to be looking to run the ball on a consistent basis and establish your offense that way, which is what I believe the Steelers will do in 2023. They proved to like that approach at the end of 2022. After the bye week, we were very successful in the running game. And after us bolstering this offensive line, I don't think that's going anywhere. But the problem is we don't need to seek out that 1-2 punch or having that multiple running back or running back by committee approach because it's already here. We have Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren. This is the weird part. I know Joy Taylor is from Pittsburgh. She has the Pittsburgh connections. Did she just not watch a Steeler game last year? She just forgot that we have Jaylen Warren, who's a very, very capable RB2. Actually, I'm really pumped. I think he's going to make his own jump going into year 2. And what's crazy is I was looking up some stats for him. In his limited time last year, I mean, think, he only had 77 attempts on the ground, but had 379 yards. That's a 4.9 yard per carry average. And then don't forget his ability in the receiving game. 28 receptions, 214 yards. So if you look at this, he averaged almost 600 total yards last year. And that's in a very limited workload. I can only imagine what he could do next year if we actually just bump up his carries from 77 to maybe like a $120. And then he gets an extra like 10 or 15 receptions. That could be potentially a total of 1,000 yards, and that's for your RB2. I think Jaylen Warren's that perfect guy for us. Now, with Dalvin Cook, yeah, obviously he'd help the running back room, but there's just so many reasons why this is not going to happen. One, the contract he's probably still looking for. The last one he signed with the Vikings was for 5 years. I believe it was 62, 63 million total. So that's, if my math is right, $12 million per year. He's not too far removed from that. He's still in his prime. He's like 27 years old. He's coming off of 4,000-yard seasons, averaging like 10 touchdowns a season for these last 4 years. So he's probably going to be still looking for at least $6 to $7 million a year at this point. I would guess at least. For the Steelers, you might be able to afford that, but at the same time, I think you'd want to keep that cap flexibility because you still got to make some of these rookie signings. And also, there's a Highsmith extension on the horizon, so you don't know what you're going to need or not need for that. Second reason, as I mentioned, just we have Jaylen Warren. There's just no reason for this at all. Third reason, I don't think Dalvin Cook is really interested in the Steelers. I've heard Miami. I've heard maybe one or two of the New York teams. So this is just not happening. But again, the concept of having multiple good running backs is a fair assessment. It really is. And the Steelers, we do want to run the ball. We want to establish the run. But we got our guys. We got Najee Harris. We got Jaylen Warren. And Moats was talking up on the podcast yesterday, Anthony McFarland being probably a pretty capable RB3 for us this season. So, yeah, there's just no chance this Dalvin Cook signing is happening. But now let's get into the question that I posed in the intro, and that was, what is my favorite Steeler signing this offseason? Also, my least favorite. So for favorite, this one's a tough one. There's many ways you could go about this. You could talk about contract and affordability. You could talk about the prestige of player that we brought in and what type of impact you think they're going to make. But I'm going to go with Patrick Peterson. The guys I was thinking is Peterson. I was also thinking Sayamalu. Those are probably my top two, to be honest with you. But like, if you want to talk about value, bringing in a Keanu Neal, former Pro Bowler, on like a $1 million deal, like that's a steal. Marcus Golden on a $1 million or basically a vet minimum deal. He's going to be our third edge rusher. So there's value there. I just think with Patrick Peterson, he can still play, and that just goes to show from his raw stats last year with the Vikings, had 5 picks. But also, PFF, take these rankings with a grain of salt. Actually, we're going to react to some of their bullshit rankings that they had for edge rusher and safety tomorrow. But with Pat P, they had him as the 7th best corner in all of 2022. So he's still got gas left in the tank. He's going to be CB1 for us. But I feel like his impact will go even beyond that. I feel like his presence will be like this multiplying effect across the defense. Not only for this year, because he'll have that fresh set of eyes on what we're doing. I think he's going to give good input on what we could do better. He's got, the Hall of Fame pedigree, all that. But also the mentorship role he's going to bring to the young corners that we just brought in JPJ and Corey Trice. That effect could not only be this year, but for years down the line. So there's that. And the fact that when we signed him, we just lost Cam Sutton. So we lost our probably most consistent corner, went to the Lions for $11 million per year. But later that day, we were able to pick up Patrick Peterson as a replacement. And for a better dollar amount, 2 years, $14 million, so $7 million a year. We got a guy who's arguably better than Cam Sutton right now, even at the late stages of his career. And I feel like we'll have a multiplier effect impact on this team, not only this year. Again, I think just the defense as a whole will be better with his presence being there. But who knows for the years to come and what type of foundation Patrick Peterson can lay for this secondary. Now, for my least favorite sign, this one was actually really hard because I liked all of our signings. I don't have really any complaints for any of them. So if you want to nitpick, I guess we will. I'm going to say one. But, here's my thing. You guys let me know in the comment. I feel like it'd be unfair to just pick a depth signing, right? A guy that we brought in for, the vet men who's fighting for a roster spot. I feel like you got to pick a guy that we sign to for sure be on the 53-man roster, probably start, probably get some playing time. You know what I mean? I feel like it'd be unfair if I just said, Armon Watts or Braden Fehoko. Those are my least favorite signings. Because you could just say, I don't think they're as good of a player as some of the other signings that we made. Or Mason Rudolph. That's the major low-hanging fruit right there. That'd be the easiest one to say. But honestly, that was a good signing, low-key. I'm going to go with, again, we're nitpicking here. I like the signing still. I do. And even as I dig into it a little bit more, I still like the signing. But I'll go Cole Holcomb. I don't know if this is hindsight 2020. He's already a little bit banged up in OTAs. We gave him a decent deal, money-wise, on a per-year basis. 3 years, $18 million. He's been banged up in the past. So that would be it. I would just go based off the contract we gave the guy and what his availability has been and just what type of risk that could be for the Steelers in 2023. I think he's going to be a good player for us if he just stays healthy. I looked into the deal even further. I was like, what's really going on with this 3 years, $18 million that Cole Holcomb got? It's actually a good deal. It's not even really a 3-year deal. It's more or less a 1 year. He's getting almost $5 million guaranteed. And then after this 2023 year, there's a potential out where we would save about $4 million in cap space if things didn't work out with Holcomb. So this is a good deal. It's actually a good deal. It's just we've had so many good deals. It's hard to pick. What would you say is your least favorite? I don't think this is a bad deal. I really don't think we had any bad deals this offseason. So if I had to make a pick, though, I would say Cole Holcomb. But again, I actually think it's a good deal. But that just goes to show the work and how good Omar Khan and this front office has done this offseason. Big salute to them. But let me know your guys' favorite signing from this offseason down in the comments, and also your least favorite signing, and then your thoughts about the Dalvin Cook to the Steelers speculation. Also, drop those down in the comments. But stay chilling on a Friday. Enjoy the weekend, and peace.